Hello everyone, welcome to Literature Camp, a channel for the preparation of UGC NET and SET in English literature. I am Debarghya Chakraborty. This is my third class on literary theory for the preparation of UGC NET and SET in English literature. The topic of our today's discussion is structuralism. I have created a playlist on literary theory by which you can watch all the classes one by one. So let's start this topic. Be ready with a pen and paper and start making notes. What is structuralism? By the word itself, you can understand that structuralism is about a structure. Yes, but it is not just about a structure, because a structure is made of many elements, is made of many small structures. So structuralism focuses on the relationships, on the interconnections between the elements within a structure. For example, think of a poem. A poem does have a structure, right, as a whole, but a poem consists of words, phrases, lines, pauses, uh, stanzas are there, right? Many figure of speeches are there. So the meaning of the poem is generated by all the elements of the poem that produces the meaning of the poem as a whole. So this is all about structuralism as well. So structuralism focuses on the interconnections, the interrelationships between the elements of a structure, which produces the meaning of the structure as a whole. So structuralism believes that world is organized as structures. Yes, structures are forms made up of units, the elements I have mentioned, right, that are arranged in a specific order. These units follow particular rules in the way they are organized or related to each other. Yes, they have a connection. Structuralism looks at the relationships between the various elements within the self-contained and well-organized structure of a text in order to understand the ways, the grammar or rules by which the text produces the meaning. Yes, it focuses on the form of a text by looking at elements like voice, character, settings, and their combination. So this is all about structuralism. I hope you have understood this concept. So as a theory, structuralism, it was developed in early 20th century in France and in Russia. It is Ferdinand de Saussure, I hope you have heard his name, who gave very unique concept of semiology or semiotics. Yes, so Ferdinand de Saussure and Charles Sanders Peirce, they gave a concept. The concept is called semiotics or semiology. What does it mean? Semiotics means, or semiology means, they are almost same, means study of science. All right, study of science. Let me tell you, Saussure called it semiology, yes, and C.S. Peirce called it semiotics. What does it mean? It means study of science. They're the co-founders of this concept of semiotics and semiology. And it is Saussure's very famous work, Course in General Linguistics, published, of course, posthumously in 1915. You may get 1915 in many other books by former students. It was translated into English in 1959. Let me write it down. Translated into English in 1959? So definitely this question also can come. It was published posthumously in 1916, but translated into English in 1959. This is something that we need to keep in mind. So Ferdinand de Saussure, we should focus on his concept right now, makes three significant points in his analysis of language. I hope you have understood. This is about language, right? So Saussure makes three significant movements or points in his analysis of language. Number one is langue and parole. What is langue? What is parole? Langue means system of rules, system of signs. Parole means its meaning. I have already discussed this concept in detail in my previous classes, and if you watch that class, I am sure your concept will be clear. So I'm not going to discuss again the concept or the dichotomy of langue and parole in this class. Please watch that class, your concept will be clear. So number one movement or number one point is langue and parole. Secondly, Saussure discussed that words exist in relation to other words. Yes, similarly, you can understand. I have already discussed the concept of structuralism. Words exist in relation to other words and meanings of each other. Each word depends on the meaning of other words. So word exists in relation to other words, and meaning of each word depends on the meaning of other words. That is his point, very significant point in structuralism, in his concept of language, in his analysis of language. So this is something that we need to also keep in mind. Third point and very significant point is his concept of signifier and signified. Let me tell you that Saussure suggested that words and its meanings are not natural. Let me repeat myself. Saussure suggested that words and the meanings are not natural, but they are made or created by repeated use, by conventions. Yes. For example, think of any word. He calls it a word or a sound as signifier. So Saussure calls a word or a sound a signifier. This is something that we need to know. This is very important. Word or sound, he calls it signifier. And what is signified? The meaning or the concept is called signified. Saussure talks about the relationship between these two, signified and signifier. Saussure discusses that the relationship between the signifier, meaning word or sound, and signified, meaning the concept or the meaning of the word, is arbitrary. The relationship between the signifier and the signifier is arbitrary, and they together, signifier and signified, or the word and its meaning, constitute a sign. So signifier plus signified is equal to sign. Yes, that is the concept of a sign. Study of sign is called semiology according to Saussure. So I hope you have understood this concept of sign, and which is actually a combination of signifier and signified, right? Saussure wrote another word, which is something we need to remember words upon words. This question can come. Who wrote words upon words? The answer is Ferdinand de Saussure. So please make a note of this word. Right now, I will focus on C.S. Peirce. Who is C.S. Peirce? Again, he is very important figure in this field, in this literary theory. C.S. Peirce is called the father of pragmatism. Let me write it down. Father of pragmatism. All right. So C.S. Peirce called the study of science as semiotics, and Saussure called it semiology. Same concept is there. So he offered three components of science. Definitely, this concept is very similar to Saussure's concept of signified and signifier. Number one is representation, like Saussure's signifier. It means the form or the sound or the word, right? Second, the interpretant, the sense or the meaning of the word or the sound, which according to Saussure is signified, right? And thirdly, object or reference. So this question also can be asked in assertion and reasoning part. So C.S. Peirce offered three components of science. Number one is representation, number two is interpretant, number three is object. And the relationship between these three is called semiosis. Let me write it down. Semiosis. The dialogue, the relationship between these three, interpretation, representation, and object, is called semiosis according to C.S. Peirce. Now, I'll focus on Lévi-Strauss. He is a very important figure in this field of structuralism. By Lévi-Strauss's work, the term structuralism is invented. All right. So we should focus on his important works. Lévi-Strauss wrote some important works. We need to make a note of this. Number one is elementary structure of kinship. Elementary structures of kinship, published in 1949. This is something we need to remember. This is very important work, and he is a very significant person in this field of structuralism. Secondly, the structural study of myth, published in 1955. This is something also very important. Please make a note of this. His next work is The Savage Mind, published in 1962. Very important work again. Again, we need to remember that the title of this work, The Savage Mind, is taken from Shakespeare's Hamlet. Yes. So title is taken from Hamlet. From Ophelia's speech, Act 4, Scene 5 in Hamlet. This question can be asked. This is something we need to make a note of this. So, The Savage Mind, written by Lévi-Strauss, published in 1962. The title of this work is taken from Shakespeare's Hamlet, from Ophelia's speech in Act 4, Scene 5. And again, we got a very new concept of bricolage. Yes, please make a note of this. Bricolage. This concept we have got from Lévi-Strauss. So definitely this question also can be asked. Who coined the term or this concept of bricolage? So it is Lévi-Strauss. Next, he has written this work, Mythology Cues. Please make a note of this. This question also can be asked. So these are all important works written by Lévi-Strauss. This is all about today's class. Please check out the playlist I have made. And if you are new to my channel, let me tell you, I have created this channel, Literature Camp, for the preparation of UGC NET and SET in English literature. If you have internet pack, you can simply watch the classes. Thanks for your attention.